Hey, this is Nathalie Kalbach, and I'm here today with one of our jump starters, Joe Rotella, my dear old friend Joe Rotella, who I know for many years.
Where'd old friend come from?
What? As you can tell, he's a jokester, and so am I. He always makes me snort and laugh. Besides that, he's super, super talented and does the coolest projects. But before I go too much into this, why don't I let Joe introduce himself for Creative JumpStart and to everyone? What are you doing and who are you? Who are you?
I wonder every day. I feel like I have multiple personalities sometimes. You never know who's going to pop out. But today, I'll be serious. I'm at my real job. So I have what I call a real job, or the job that actually pays money, and that's Chief Marketing Officer of a software company. But outside of that, I struggle to say I'm an artist. I think I'm a crafter, a maker. I putz. I put things together, and I love pieces that tell a story. So last year for Creative JumpStart, we did a dragon in the window, and in my mind, I had a whole story behind that. It's just hard to fit a story. Natalie only gives me like 3.2 minutes, and my videos are like 7 hours, so I have to cut them all down and everything. But I love to make stuff, and I love to learn. That's the best part of Creative JumpStart is when I go watch everybody's videos every day. I'm like, oh my God, what a great idea was this? Oh my God, how come I never knew this? And you meet new artists that you never heard from. That I didn't know, so I have to go follow them on Facebook, and it's fun. It's fun. I get to work with you too, so that's fun.
Yeah, it's super fun, and I'm always amazed by the projects that you come up with and the story. Like last year was also amazing. That dragon, oh my God, it was so cool, and I love this year's too. So you have to know also that Joe loves to use tools, like real tools, right?
I got some tools for you.
Like for what example?
Every time I see Natalie, she's asking about my tools. I don't understand.
Oh my God, we gotta leave this in, Joe. You're toast. You're toast. So, like,
most take electric, but someday I'm gonna get one that has a kickstart, like a motorcycle. So I can't wait. It's gonna be great.
What are you using this year? Give us a hint. What is like the biggest tool you're using in this one?
The biggest tool I'm using this year in Creative JumpStart or just in general?
Creative JumpStart.
Are we going to try to narrow the focus here just to make sure we're good?
Yeah.
Boy, what would be the biggest tool? Well, this year I was using an electronic die cutting machine. Mm-hmm. So electronic cutting machine. I used a Brother Scan and Cut. That was really cool. And this year, actually, I think I went really back to the basics and didn't really use any power tools. I was really trying to show a couple techniques that I think you can use on lots and lots of different surfaces, or as the artist would say, the substrates. We can put them on many, many substrates, dear darling. And so once you put them on the substrates, well, it's a totally different effect, you see. And so there's just possibilities are endless, but I saw it as just some basic stuff that you could put on anything. I used a cigar box, and they just come out so cool. So that's it. I think I taught three major techniques and then all these little weird tips along the way that when I went and listened to, I'm like, oh, these people know that. What are you saying?
No, I think that's great because, the one thing is, of course, there's a different, when you do Creative JumpStart, we are also different in what we do. And so our audience is wildly mixed, right? From beginners to intermediates, from people that do mostly watercolor or mostly acrylic paints or steampunky like it's so different in so many ways. And I think what's so interesting is you're exposed to things that you might otherwise not really see or sign up for, and that should like trigger, even if you don't do the exact same thing, it should trigger something in you that you might think later on and say, oh, I could incorporate that in a different way in my own project. So you have so many different opportunities to take it literally as a project, or you just take bits and pieces from it and then you incorporate that. And that's what I find so interesting about it. And that's why I don't give any, besides like 10 minutes to torture Joe, every other artist, no, I'm just kidding, 10 minutes. And then the theme, right? There's no like guidelines this year. And there weren't any others last year.
This theme, look, I'm ready for this theme.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to cook in the kitchen, baby. I'm going to show you so many things. And I tell you, oh, Natalie, I tell you, in 2018, I got to make a project with Cigar Box because this lady, she called me. She says, Joe, I want to take a class. I'm like, okay. She's like, I ain't got no money. So I thought, no money, you're going to trade? So she said, yes, I'm going to trade. So you know what she says? I'll give you some cigar boxes. I said, okay, I want nice wood ones. I don't want them cheap paper ones. So she says, okay. So she comes over to my house. You know, she got a trash bag. I'm knocking on the door. I open the door. Hello, baby. She says, I got you some boxes. Here's a trash bag. That's a lot of boxes. And I'm like, okay, come on in. She's like, there's more in the car. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. She give me, you know what she give me? 700 cigar boxes. 700. So I got to make all kinds of everything you do now. We put a cigar box in it. You got to. It's like in my garden. You know, you grow zucchini. You got to make 50 million recipes with zucchini. No, because one plant it makes so many zucchini. You ever make a zucchini? I'm telling you. And the flowers, you can eat the flowers. You know, in Italy, we dunk them in a little batter. We fry it because I love it fried. Oh, honey, you fry it, I eat it. I eat it, you fry it. But so boxes, we cannot fry the boxes. If we could fry the boxes, we could make all kinds of shit, but no, cannot fry. So I thought, oh, I got to use me a box in Creative JumpStart. But I only use a one box. So I think I'm going to stack them. I put some arms. I'm going to make robots out of boxes. I'm going to have boxes in everything you make.
I'm so glad that Giuseppe Rotella made it.
Giuseppe Rotella is going to teach you how to cook. You got a wooden spoon. Every Italian got a wooden spoon. I thought this was for cooking. I didn't know because growing up, it was for the spanking. This is my mom. She would take a spoon and I would do something awful. Oh, I did awful things. You know, I fed the dog once of crayons just to see what comes out the other end. That's a mixed media, baby. That's a mixed media. And then all you got to see my mom, she'd come out with that spoon and you'd be like, oh, please, God, let her be making some pudding or pasta. And instead she'd be like, get your little butt over here. And she would spank you with the spoon. Now I know you actually can cook with this thing too. I learned so many things. But I'm telling you, 2018 is Cigar Box. And you invite me back, Creative JumpStart, I bet we still making something with the Cigar Box.
Okay, Joe, you have to go a little bit to the center, though. There we go.
You just want to see me wiggle. I know how you are. I drive the ladies crazy. Crazy, I tell you.
Okay, so speaking of cooking, Giuseppe, right?
Yes. You
what
gotta
kind
have
of
a
a
straight
cook are
face.
you?
You're not holding it together very well. What's your problem?
What kind of a cook are you? Are you like a very, do you cook?
Do I cook? Do I come fat? Look, of course I cook. But I'm like a structured. I got to lay out all the ingredients. And it takes usually like 4 trips to the grocery store. You got to see. I don't clean the house much, but I clean the house, you know, in a vacuum, and a vacuum, and a vacuum. Then I see the magazine. Oh, look, this magazine. Oh, my God, I got to make this. So the vacuum goes down. You go to the grocery store. You buy some stuff. You come back. Then you think, oh, I got to put this in the fridge. Oh, look it over here. I'm going to do this. Oh, there's the vacuum. Then you come back. It might take me a long time to make something. But I'm going to make it. It's going to be good. But I got to follow. I like structure. I like a structure because I'm kind of engineer at heart.
Is that the same in your artwork?
Oh, yes.
Or
That's why every piece, it got to tell a story. But I like a structure. And that's why, like my new thing, if I could learn something new, it's automata. You know, they turn a little crank in a machine and birds move and things fly like old little gears, like oh, God, what was that guy? He made a Pinocchio with the big nose.
Oh, yeah, Giuseppe.
Giuseppe, he made the same of mine. Oh, my God. Who knew? Who knew? So that would be my thing, is go find somebody who makes, you know, the tiny little gears and the mechanisms and things are moving. Because I like art. I don't like it the flat. A lot of people like it the flat. Who likes a flat? Look at Italian women. Nobody flat. You don't like a flat. You like big, 3D big. And so I like a 3D. You're snorting, baby. You're not serious. This is serious art, and cooking is a serious business. You know, could be in my kitchen with this kind of attitude, but that's what I'm saying. I like that kind of fussy little tiny detail stuff, but you can't do it in, 7.2 minutes, which is all we have in Creative JumpStart. I have to ask every year, Natalie, can I please have like extra 28 minutes? She's like, no, you have 2. Mean. Next thing, yes, go on. That's all I got for you.
Okay.
I should have
So,
put Giuseppe away. We'll put
yeah,
Giuseppe.
Giuseppe. It was nice to see Giuseppe.
Oh, much serious now. Much better.
So you said something. You want to learn this automated. Um,
Automata, kinetic art.
okay.
Kinetic art.
So if you could go on an artful adventure.
Well, there's an artist that I really, really like. His name is Bliss Kalb, Kolb, and he's in Seattle.
Yeah.
And he made an automata as an example where you turn the crank and it's a dragonfly and the wings actually move incredibly fast because of the ratio of the gears. And he has another one that's a bird sitting in a tree, but the bird actually chirps because part of the crank and pushes tiny little bellows that blow air through whistles, and the wings move and everything. And I love detailed, fussy little work. If you can do something in 5 steps, I can do it in 38. I love tiny, meticulous little stuff. And so if it was money was no object, I would call him and say, what do I have to pay you to come and be your apprentice for a year or two? We don't really have apprentices anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's how you learn some of these. There's so many like shoji screens in Japan that are made by hand. There's only a few people left who know how to do it because it used to be passed down.
Well, there's actually even, I don't even know the name in English, but there's even this thing where when you work with, let's say you do like roofs, wooden roofs, and woodwork in Germany, they have their own like traditional gear like that they wear. They have like black corduroy pants and big hats that are traditional like floppy hats, and they have like a hiking. Yeah, that's cool. And then they go, and it's called, like, they have a book, and they go. They won't get paid, but the thing is that they go and they travel the country and go to different places and ask them if they can work with them and learn something from them.
Yep.
And then they fill it in their book, and sometimes you see them in a bar or, coming into a bar, and then usually people buy them something to eat or to drink. And it's their apprenticeship is made of traveling the country for, I don't know, I think it might be a year or 2 years, probably not feasible anymore longer. But it's a traditional way of learning the craftsmanship of working with wood, and you still see them all the time. It's pretty amazing.
See, that's my fantasy.
Yeah.
And imagine if money was no object, and if I had, enough money, I could say, Nathalie, can I come sit with you in your studio for 2 months and just follow you, help you, tell me what to do? I would learn so much. You would be distracted because I could tell you can't focus. I know how to focus. But, think about if you could just pick people, that you could spend a month or two with or longer. I mean, Bliss Kalb, some of his automatas take years to build. And to learn that, and I think that's such a neat mix of art and engineering to get the gears right and the mechanisms right, and then yet to decorate the piece that's going to fly or move. I think that.
But how did you learn all this? Like, did you learn that from your father or someone who was like? See, I said father. It could be your mother too, but we are very gender oriented, of course. But like, right? But like, did you learn that as a child? Were you like watching?
My dad. Obviously I have an Italian background, and my dad's parents came over from Italy. They worked in a stone quarry in New York. Mm-hmm. When my dad as soon as he was 7th, 8th grade, he was out of school. He worked in the stone quarry. He was a laborer. His hands were so big he could hold a basketball upside down. It was just a massive man. But nights and weekends, to make extra money, he was a carpenter. Mm-hmm. And so he did very, very fine carpentry work. And the problem is, to be honest, I ignored that growing up. I saw that as manual labor. Really, it was craftsmanship.
Yeah.
I wish I had spent time to be with him more and learn that. But now, in this art world, I work with Proxon. They make micro tools. So, a big table saw takes up, 4-foot square. Mine is 12 by 12 by 6. So I have all these micro tools, which would be great at detailed work. And I think I've discovered over the last year, I like detail. I like things that move. I like things you interact with. So this notion of clockworks, of somebody turning something and seeing something happen. One of the first ones was Leonardo da Vinci. He made this for one of the kings. He made a lion. And this lion walks on all fours, then stood up, then opens up its chest, and the king's fleur-de-lis comes out. Think about the gears and mechanisms.
Yeah.
And wind up, basically, it was a spring back then. I think that's 1500s.
Yeah.
And then all that movement happens. How fascinating. So I want to learn that. So I've just been on the web. There used to be a lot of classes in Europe. Actually, England is known for automata, and Germany. But most of the classes, they're gone. They're on VHS tapes. They don't have them anymore. They're not on DVD. So I'm determined in 2018 to learn as much of this as I can. So maybe if you have me back next year, we'll have a little mechanical something. I don't know. Dying to do it.
Speaking of Leonardo da Vinci, I just finished the biography of him. It's a best-selling book right now too, and I think you would actually really, really enjoy it.
Really?
Yeah, it's really good. It's not it's a part of it is fiction, of course, but it's it's about his life, but it also looks a lot at his drawings and how he was like, oh, I'm gonna paint a bird. I have to know everything about how a bird flies, and then he would get lost into that. And he actually didn't produce that much artwork because he was such a inventor and trying to find out things and learn things, and it's just an interesting and neat book. I found a lot of value in it, and I think you would really like it.
Well, I'll have to look. That's the thing too with Creative JumpStart. That must be my chef. The restaurant's calling. Just a moment. For Creative JumpStart, first, of course, it's a humongous honor. And every year you ask me, I always write you back and say, are you sure? Did you make a mistake?
It's true, he does, which is funny because I'm honored.
It's really an honor. It's fabulous. But I think people don't, maybe the others don't, but I learned stuff even doing my own project. Like this year, because of Creative JumpStart, I had to teach myself how to film better, how to edit it together, add music. I got to be part of a newscast, which was very exciting to be interviewed by the news. And
Joe Rowe.
Exciting. A news guy was called Joe Rowe, very handsome Italian guy, dark hair, great. Bit of a big nose, I've heard, but phenomenal. To be on TV, like you're not focusing again, Nathalie. People are going to notice you're not focused. Focus. And so, you learn all of that. You learn how can I condense this technique down into a way that fits in the limited, 2 minutes, 3 seconds. It's just it's such a great process. And the other thing that's great that we need to tell jumpers to do, or jump starters, or I get them all confused. Who's who? You got to go to the forum though, where people every day watch the video and then leave comments, because they share ideas. They say what they liked, what they didn't like, how they do it different. That's another huge cool part of Creative JumpStart, because if you go take a face-to-face class, first of all, you couldn't take this class from 31 people because they're from all over the world. It would take you a year. Then you say, okay, you could just watch videos, on YouTube. The difference here is that so many people around the world are watching them the same time. So you get to interact with each other. And I love that part. And I love reading the comments, the nice ones. If you're going to leave a bad one, just don't even put it on. I have to hit delete. I have to stalk you on Facebook, and everything's bad. But I bet you read the comments every day, right? Do you read them every day?
Yeah, I do.
But you don't get to do that anywhere else.
No.
I mean, that's so cool.
I really love the community aspect, and every time, once in a while I look like where people came from and signed up, and it's just mind blowing for me that it's literally the whole world. We have people from, obviously the US and Canada, but also South America. We have people from...
Are you snorting? Is that snorting?
No, unfortunately there's construction work going on for 3 months in the apartment next door.
I was worried something else.
And there's nothing that I can do. If I would postpone the interview, it would go for, we would never be able to do anything. So don't even get there, because I'm starting to get as soon as they start, I'm like, ah. But anyway. I
heard that noise.
Yeah, I know. It's not me. but there's people from all over the world, which is like, like Singapore and South Africa. It's like everywhere. And you're like, this is so cool, that you have this community of people coming together. And we all share like more than we might think sometimes, right? We share the love of creating and doing something with our hands and get those people together.
You build lasting relationships. So I have to tell you a little story from last year or a couple years ago, because I've done Creative JumpStart now, like I think since 2013.
Yeah.
So a woman, I'm not going to say who she is, from England met me because of Creative JumpStart. Not face to face, but through JumpStart. Then she followed me or found me on Facebook, all that kind of stuff, right? I've never met her face to face. Once every 6 months, we have a little message back and forth. This fall, my best friend passed away unexpectedly. I got a handmade card from this woman in England who said, I know you're sad and I want to do something to cheer you up. And she made me a card. But then the cool part was I messaged her and said, thank you for the card. This was just amazing. And she wrote me back and she said, it was for me too, because she said, I never could think I could send you something I made. I didn't think it would be good enough. And so she said, I overcame that and thought, I don't care. I want to make a card. She stalked me on Facebook. She's probably in my basement right now. I mean, who would know where this woman is? But I'll tell you, women, they follow me everywhere. Paparazzi too. And ever since being on the news. But back to my story. How amazing is that this is somebody I've never met, who found out that I had been sat and made a card, admitted to herself, I'm afraid to do this, but it's okay. And then went out of her way to send that card all the way, international postage. I don't even know how much stamp I need to send to Germany or France or England. I mean, don't you think that's just beautiful?
Yeah.
That's art. We were connected just through Creative JumpStart.
Yeah. That's
kind of amazing to me.
I love that too.
Thank you to you for that.
No. You have to thank her. That is so sweet and how thoughtful. I love that.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm curious for you, for me, one of the hardest parts, after I freak out about being asked, I have to calm down. Then I have to think about
I just asked myself.
Forever, right. But then my hardest part is, what can I boil down to the time frame? I'm curious for you as the founder for Creative JumpStart, the inspiration, the vision, the whole thing. What's the hardest part for you?
You mean besides the organization?
But you got that down pat now.
I think the hardest part for me is probably, there's two things. One is, of course, I have something in my mind when I send it out to you. Like, I mean, when you have an idea for a theme, even though you say it's very wide and everything is possible, of course you have a certain idea for yourself what you're gonna do, and then you think that everyone kind of sees the same thing, but they don't. It was like maybe 3 people saw the same idea in this theme, and then the rest comes back with something else, and you just have to. They are awesome, but you have to let it becomes its own thing. Like the theme that you put out, you have to just let it go and say this will become its own thing when artists will send it back, and then you have to tie that somehow together. But the hardest thing...
I get that, because your theme this year, because you said cooking in the mixed media kitchen.
Right.
And the minute, for me, because of how I cook, I thought, oh my gosh, that means I need a recipe. Like 1 part gesso, 2 part paints, vinegar, and it makes some cool finish.
I didn't think of that.
And so that freaked me out. And then once I thought, okay, my interpretation is, French chefs have the 5 sauces. Every chef knows how to make these 5 sauces.
Yeah.
Is there something like that, a technique that I use in lots and lots of pieces that's, to me, is a basic sauce?
Right.
But I'm dying to see the other videos to see if anybody else had a recipe for some cool mixture
it's very
of
different.
things.
There's people that have recipes. There's people that do projects, and it's kind of like, here's the recipe to go from A to Z.
Like mine, I think, is more project.
It's also techniques, like kitchen techniques, but then you also have I was thinking more maybe when I was thinking about the theme was more about like what are certain elements that make your work. So
Yeah.
there was that's also, that some people came back with that too. So it's like some people just like said, but at the end of the day, it's about like, it's like cooking. Like everyone does a different approach in the kitchen too, right? So some people just try out all kinds of stuff and throw things together. Some people just order out. Some people follow a recipe from the beginning to the end. Some people love technical gadgets and they want to try that. Some people love a certain ingredient that they use over and over and over again, right? Like we'll use pasta all the time, right? You and I, we are Italian, so.
You too. Wait. Germans can cook?
Well, my father was a real Italian, so my father was from Sicily. So I spent a lot of time in Italy.
That's where you get that fighting streak.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the Sicilian in you. I'd love to see those notes, what you wrote down about each video.
Oh no, it's always only like to kind of like put them in certain orders. The other thing is like, how do you schedule these videos?
Well, I was curious. I'm interviewing you now. Have you noticed we've totally changed?
Yeah.
The world here. How do you set up the schedule for January? Because I know you put a lot of thought into.
Yeah.
They're not alphabetical.
No, they're not alphabetical. They're not by the time they're submitted. They're not. There's several factors. I make like notes and I'm try to change things up. For example, like say someone is like very technical. Then the next one would be great to be more like like something that's a little bit more like a project-based thing where someone can follow. I also try to change it up between like, is it an easy one? Is it a harder one? Or is it something that no one ever has done in Creative JumpStart, and that's, you actually need a couple more things to get that together, and it would be very intimidating to do that right away. Let's say Jen Crossley did metal etching, which I think most people have never done before that are in maybe a couple. But I think if I would put her in the first day, people might freak out.
Well, metal, I love Jen and I love Jen's work.
Yeah.
And, metal etching, she's taught my partner Joe and he's made pieces with her. But if you don't learn from an expert, it can be scary. It's a nasty chemical and all this jazz. But right. Jen makes it so that like even I could etch something.
Exactly. Like I watched her video and I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. I have to do it. But still, I don't want to put it, so you also think about like expectations. And then it's hard because you have people that are very advanced and then they might be like, but I think there's certain kinds of people that are very advanced and they will still find value in every video or most videos that they see. And I always think like, even if there's only 5 videos that for you show you something that is new, that's an incredible value for the money and the time that is out there.
Part of it though, I agree. If you even, the reality is just for the price of 1 or 2, what you pay, if you liked 1 or 2 videos, it's worth it.
Yeah. And
because you have someone to interact with, which you don't have if you just watch a canned video or you buy a DVD. But I think that whole notion of looking at something and saying, oh, I've learned from this or I found value, part of that is the person's attitude.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you can go into every situation and be like, I've been there, done that, saw that. But if you try to keep an open mind, you can say, wait a minute. Yes, I knew this whole technique, but I really liked the way they explained it. I really liked the way they taught it, or I liked the tool that they used, or wow, like in my case, Joe did that on a cigar box. I could do it on a blank, this, that, the other thing. And so part of that burden, I think, is on the viewer to look at it and say, what can I take away from this? And they maybe set a goal. If you're keeping all track in a journal of all the videos you watch, write down for each video, you're going to find one thing that you could say you learned new, gave you a different idea, a new approach. And
I find that every time, and mind you, I'm doing that for 7 years, so I have seen hundreds of videos for Creative JumpStart, And even if there is techniques that I've seen, do and seen like many times, there's always something new about it. It's
Yep.
either the way how they do it or the colors that are using, or there's like, one little thing that I've never thought about it, or, there's always something where I'm like, oh, that is so cool. So I think I am also a very positive person, and I always think, but like you just have to go around like a 3-year-old and think there's so
Yeah.
much new around you.
Like for me, I believe it or not, I just got on Instagram. So I've not been an Instagram person,
Oh
right?
my God,
Right.
Joe!
By the time I get 1 million followers, everyone will have moved to some other platform. I'm always late. I'm always late. Like I'm thinking today, should I buy Bitcoin for $18,000?
No.
Because I'm always late. So I'm getting on Instagram. I only have like 700 followers. And part of it was I was thinking the only picture I can post is something I'm working on that day, like an art project.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a real job. I have a house. I travel. I can't really do something every day art-wise. And now I've started to think, if I go to a flea market and see a cool thing, I could post a picture. If I go to a store and see a piece that I think, wow, this is inspiration for some other project, I could post a picture. Well, I'm really trying hard to look at everything with a new set of eyes to say, well, that's cool. And I'm going to share that with folks, and maybe like 3 more people will follow me. Who knows? I looked at Julie Faith Van Balzer yesterday on Instagram. I'm like, okay, I have 700 followers. I wonder how many Julie has. She has almost 19,000.
I know.
I would like to see on the flip side, like I now started every month, I post a project on the Brother website.
Yeah.
The most exciting part for me so far has been people posting pictures of what they made based on what I posted.
That's the best, right? Yeah.
And that's so cool. Like, I have to be honest, I'm hoping for Creative JumpStart 2018, someone posts a picture saying, I watched you and I made this, or I did
Actually,
this.
I think what you hope for is, I watched the cigar box making thing, and I know you have 700 boxes. Can you sell me 600?
So, gone. I can send them to you, Nathalie, tomorrow.
Speaking
I just have to get a big
of,
crate. Wait, that woman was so funny because she had one trash bag.
That is
and
so
I'm like,
funny.
oh, she's like, oh, there's more in the car. And I thought, there's more in the car. And so then I have to go in the car. And then she's like, well, and then they wouldn't fit. So if you could take the van over to my house, I thought, oh, how many boxes? And then because I'm OCD and an engineer, and I love to look at junk, I laid every box out on the living room floor and then sorted them together. And I thought there might be like 5 kinds of cigars in the world. I was stupid. Do you know how many shapes and sizes these boxes come in? And I have a picture of me laying in the middle of all these boxes stacked like Robert Redford. And I told Joe Morgan, my partner, I was like, I'm going to post a picture of me in the middle of all the boxes like Robert Redford. He's like, no, we're not posting that picture. Nobody wants to see you in your pajamas surrounded by hundreds of cigar boxes.
Speaking of collecting.
So if you ever need a box.
Actually, I bought a couple from you already.
Tell me, call me. I will send.
I did. I bought a couple. Remember? At Artescape, I bought a couple.
Oh, that's... Okay, you can't... Well, you probably have to bleep this out, but buying 2 is like pissing in the ocean. You need 100.
I got it. But I also have a small apartment.
Or 200 or 300. Right behind you, there's room. I can see.
No, there's no room.
It's stacked
but
up all the way
speaking
to
of
the
collecting, one of the last questions, Joe Rowe. I know you love to collect stuff.
Oh God!
And you guys go to I guess like flea markets and sometimes I guess like also what are they called, like estate sales?
Tag sales.
What are you looking for? What you could use for your artwork, and what do you bring?
All the junk nobody else wants. I tend to be like, ooh. So it varies. Right now, I'm looking for interesting, usually wood, but could be metal. Like I found an old wooden camera, with that whole box camera thing.
Wow.
But for me, because now I'm thinking automata, so that's what's in my head, I can put the gear mechanisms inside it, put something coming out of the top. But now instead of just a box with a crank, it's an old camera. And when you look through the lens, you'll see the gears. Oh. I'm looking for things that... I can mold. Maybe I want to mold stuff and use it to make replicas of something. I look for wood pieces, a lot of wood, because I can do things with wood. You can't change the shape of something glass, but wood can cut it and shrink it and resize it. Things that could be a shrine. I've been making a lot of shrines with little doors that open, 3D shadow box things, old wires and mechanical parts. Natalie, the basement is full. The basement is full. We look like hoarders. We look like hoarders. And people are like, oh, can I come over and see your basement? I'm thinking, no, because you'll put us on TV as hoarders. But it's true. Maybe I should post a picture of part of the basement. The thing is, my partner, Joe Morgan, I can't find anything. And I can't remember what I bought. This weekend, we bought home 4 or 5 bags of stuff. I can't remember what we bought. He can tell you from something 3 years ago. I can say, I wish I had a little round piece that looked like blah, blah. I know right where that is. And he goes down the basement, and somehow he can find it. I don't know how, but...
So then it's not bad because it's all organized. He organized it all. While you were going to the supermarket to buy new food for the recipe that you saw while vacuum cleaning, he sorted out the basement.
He didn't, but it's like an archaeological dig.
Yeah.
Because what you do is you look at a bag and you say, okay, it's before this, so it's deeper, or it's after this. It was in a box, it was in a bag, it was in a plastic bag. It's amazing how much stuff we have. And now, because I'm old and I forget stuff, I am going to start putting a Post-it note or take a picture of each item with a Post-it note with what my idea for it was. Because it's stuff I got a year ago, and I think, what the hell is this? What would I do with this? But when I bought it, I had some kind of great idea. So
that could be your Instagram photo.
What a good idea that is. Oh my God, that's such a good idea.
You photograph the things that you get, and then you will tell what you think you could do with it, and then you have also your own archive and you can look at it.
You just changed my whole world.
See, full circle.
Oh my God, what a great idea this was.
There you go.
And I could put each picture in a Shutterstock, or no, what do you call that? Shutterfly book, and sell a coffee table book.
There you go.
The randomness in Joe's head.com.
I love it.
What a great idea. I'm seriously like, what a great idea.
There you go. You're welcome.
That's so good.
So, Joe, it was, as always, amazing to talk to you and all the other people that joined us.
Oh.
But
Well.
Is there anything you would like to add, like classes, books, workshops, TV appearances, newscasts?
Yes, so you want to see my friend Joe on Make It Artsy on PBS TV, and you could have followed him on Instagram because of that poor soul. He all alone on Instagram. He got about 4 pictures, about 7 people. It's kind of really embarrassing, actually embarrassing. When you go look, you're like, really? But out of sympathy, you can find him on Instagram with Joe Rotella, lots of L's in there, on Instagram. He's going to like that. He's going to love that. And because he gets so sad. He's a sad, lonely person, actually. Now that you think about it, I'm going to tell you, it's bad. We're going to try. We're going to try to make him better. 2018 is going to be his year. But if you can find Instagram, that would be great. You can watch on TV. And you got a good recipe, you can Facebook. Send a nice recipe. He like to cook. He's a little fat, but he like cook.
Okay. Thank you so much, Joe. It was, as always, hilarious.
I love you.
People just think of the things that I cut out already. So... Have a wonderful holiday season.
Ciao, Bella, Bella.
Ciao, Bella.
Che faccia bella. Che faccia bella. Ciao, baby. Ciao, baby.
Bye.
You're supposed to hang up now. You say bye, I say ciao, you hang up.